All right. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of NBA Live Stream of Consciousness. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It's a beautiful day. And this is a weird time in the NBA. A lot of players are missing games, even for the bad teams. So you see a lot of people jockeying for draft position. The jockeying for the playoff position you think would be kind of fierce, but it's not really because a lot of teams are trying to see who's getting what other position. So you can duck them, NBA and playoff basketball in particular. It's all about matchups. And, teams just try to avoid other teams as much as possible. So it's really a silly season when it comes to who's playing and who's not playing during this time. But the number one story I wanted to talk about, because I've seen this a lot, is are the Pacers a championship contender? So the Pacers in their last 10, 9-1, if you can see it here, winners of 4 in a row, one of the best differentials in the league, the best point differential in the East, excuse me. And a lot of people are surmising like, hey, this team is a title contender. So do I believe that they're a title contender? No. So if you go back and watch my video on why I believe that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can't play together, all of my points still stand. So if you bring up Boston, for example, and one of the main reasons that a lot of people are high on Boston now is because they're saying, hey, this guy, Jason Tatum, has taken a leap. You can even see my man Stephen A. Smith. The Celtics are the team to beat in the East. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at Jason Tatum, right? Because he's the reason for the season, right? And remember, I told you in my breakdown that, hey, I just don't think that Jason Tatum, for a couple different reasons, I don't think he is the playmaker, one, that you need to be in the playoffs. And, even in this crazy run that they've had in the last 10 games, where he's shooting 53% from the field and 45% from the three, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a second, he's only averaging about 4 assists a game, 4.95 assists a game, right? So you could tell me, hey, Marcus Smart is now the de facto point guard. I think he's upped his assists to over 6 or 7 a game. So he doesn't really need to, average that many assists, but we know who's the ball's going to be with in the closing stretch. We know who's going to have the ball in his hands. It's going to be Jason Tatum, right? So right now he's averaging about 5 assists and about 3 turnovers. So, generally 2-to-1 is the ratio that you're looking for. But I still think, he's the same playmaker that he's always been. So the true leap that he's had is the shooting from the field. And I think that's definitely correlated to the shooting from the three. He's shooting 46% if you round up from 3, right? So let's look at his game log, right? Let's pull that up. So in this month alone, he's shooting 10 threes a game and shooting them at a 45% clip, right? 10 threes a game and shooting them at a 45% clip. Now I'm going to break this down a little bit further, but I'm just going to focus in on him for right now, right? So let's go to scoring leaders in the league, right? So right now, let's just look at 3-point attempts. There's only 3 people that are taking that many threes a game. Steph Curry, Fred VanVleet, and Donovan Mitchell, right? Steph Curry shooting damn near 12 threes a game, 10-10. Look at the shooting percentages, 38%, 38.4, 36%, right? So for me to believe that this leap from Tatum is real, who he is, and this leap from the team is real, who they are, you want me to believe that Jason Tatum has now become a better shooter than Steph Curry. I'm not buying that. Sorry, I'm not buying that. And let's look at this here. Look at KD, for example, right? Let me pull him up. Let me pull his game logs up, right? KD shoots about 6 threes a game, and he shoots them at 41%. So you're a better shooter than KD now? Like, make it make sense. Like, I'm hearing this from everywhere. Like Stephen A., I'm not going to take a shot at Stephen A. Stephen A. does basketball, he does football, he does boxing, he does UFC, he does golf, he does tennis, he does everything. So, like, he might not have the time to really investigate this the way I'm investigating this. So let's put him aside. But what you have to understand about NBA media is that NBA media is really just Boston media. It's Bill Simmons, Boston guy, Ryan Russillo, Boston guy. You have Jackie McMullen, Boston guy. These are people who truly hold weight in the culture, NBA media culture. So, of course, they're going to whip up in a tizzy anytime that Boston does well. But I think if you just have to do simple math. Like, this is a simple math equation. They've been dominant. True. They've been blowing teams out. True. But who are these teams that they're blowing out? Right? These are, if you look at Boston's schedule, right? And maybe I might not need another video the way I'm breaking it down here, but look at their schedule, their wins since they've gone on this streak, right? Who is the tough team that they beat? Miami's had a bunch of injuries. Brooklyn, they beat them without Kyrie. Denver, this is a close game. Philadelphia, they beat them, but this is before the Harden trade. Brooklyn, again, without Kyrie. Atlanta, there was no Jason Collins. This is a good win versus Memphis, but that's a young team. I don't think anybody's saying championship contender. This game versus Brooklyn, this is a tight game. They won by 6 points. Tatum had 54 points in this game. They won by 6. Lost to Dallas. And they beat Denver again. So, this team being a title contender, they haven't ran away from any of the clutch teams, the bigger teams in the league. And this is all while Jason Tatum is scorching the Nets. Remember, there was a point in time when DeMar DeRozan was scorching the Nets. Remember, he was putting up Wilt numbers, right? So I think you have to really step back and look at it from just a math perspective. And I'm going to go in deep, deeper and break down other things. But no, I just don't see them as a title contender. So look out for that video. I'm probably going to put that up this weekend. This is a funny headline. Former NBA teammates who were traded for each other, so they decided to trade houses. That's funny. So the Warriors rest Klay Thompson, Green, and Porter. They've been struggling without Steph Curry, and Steph Curry is the reason for the season over there. We always talk about MVP, about what the player means to their team. I think this team obviously could fight for the 1 seed if Steph Curry is healthy. If Steph Curry is not healthy, I don't think they're a playoff team. You can say that for a lot of players in the NBA, but I don't think they're a playoff team without Steph Curry. He's the only one on the team that can really create for others because of the aura that he gets. And usually they don't struggle with teams with or without Steph Curry of Orlando's caliber, but to ask Klay Thompson coming off, 2 disastrous injuries, to be that type of player that could lead a team is too much. Jordan Poole, I think he's a solid player, solid, third or fourth scorer on the team, but obviously not someone that could lead your team. So it's not surprising that they're struggling. And the West is wide open for the 100th and millionth time. And now it looks like, Murray is not close. I thought Murray was going to be back here within the next couple of days, but, the coach came out on the 20th, which is just 3 days ago, and said that he's not close. Steph is going to be coming back towards the playoffs. Same for Chris Paul. John Morant has a knee injury right now. I don't think anybody's scared of Dallas. I don't think anybody's scared of Utah. I don't think anybody's scared of the T-Wolves. I don't think anybody's scared of the Nuggets. My Lakers, man. I'm a Lakers fan, but just for them to be plus 6,000 to win the title, to me, is insane, because the West is a mess. If they get in the first round and Chris Paul's not back for Phoenix, would it shock you if they won that series? If they win one series, they're off to the races. That's another interesting thing. And they're not, if you look at just their schedule, or their standings, they're not that far out of being the 8th seed, where they could have a playing game with either Denver or Minnesota to get the 7th seed. And if they play Memphis with a healthy AD, a healthy Nunn, a healthy LeBron James, would you be shocked if they won that series? Off to the races again. And who knows if the Warriors are going to win their 3-6 matchup with whoever that's going to be. So it would be either them playing the Warriors or hurt Denver or hurt Minnesota. I mean, the glide path starts to open up really significantly for them. So I think that's something definitely to watch out for. On the East side of things, I just talked about Boston, but they're surging, and they're a team because it seems like the better teams, because of the way the NBA scheduling is, they don't like to compete with the NFL, so they backload their best games. So if you're a team like the Lakers, if you're a team like Philadelphia, or a team like Brooklyn, your schedule down the stretch, or Phoenix last year, Golden State, your schedule down the stretch is always going to be tough, because that's when the NBA wants to put your marquee games on. Marquee games are generally with other good teams, and teams that the league wasn't expecting that much from, their schedule towards the end, vice versa, is pretty soft. And you can see, they weren't expecting too much from Boston, in the caliber that none of their games are national televised games. I mean, they do have a couple of tough opponents. You have Utah, you have Toronto, you have Minnesota, Miami, Chicago. Maybe they haven't beat a team of merit in so long. They have Milwaukee, Memphis. So they might, I don't know if it's completely a glide path, but I think their schedule is definitely easier down the stretch than, say, for example, a team like Philadelphia, who, when they put this together at Phoenix, Milwaukee, it's actually not that. When they put it together, they were expecting Miami and the Lakers to be really good games. That's why they're actually nationally televised game. They didn't know that Paul George would be out, that Kawhi still would not be back, the Lakers would be a hot mess. So I don't know who finishes in what position. And as I mentioned earlier at the start of it, if you just go to standings, people are trying to duck other people. And right now, everybody's trying to duck this. Like, I don't want this. You don't want to be, who knows what happens with this situation. Cleveland has been on a free fall. You see they're 5-5 in their last 10 with the injuries. So is the Bulls. Is it crazy that these two teams fall up and then Brooklyn is the 7th, or falls to the 7th seed, or crazy the 6th seed? And if you're Milwaukee and then the 7, you get them round 1, or Philadelphia, you get them round 1. So I think a lot of teams are kind of half-stepping right now because they don't want that smoke in the first round. So this time is a really interesting time. So I think you can make a lot of money, but you can also lose a lot of money by not paying attention. So you need to really watch who's playing, especially for the better teams, because I think a lot of these teams are just milling games because they don't really care. It's not about protecting the player or giving the player rest. So go ahead and stop it there. Like I said in the NFL version of this show, that it took a break because I was thinking about how I wanted to do these channels. I want to talk a little bit more pop culture and, premium TV, not in the everyday sense as I do this, or just things that I found were interesting, like the boycotting of the Grammys that, artists are talking about. That's something that I would like to talk about. I was thinking about doing it on different streams, but I'm just going to put everything here. And then, if you like something, you can watch it. And if you don't, you don't. So, but thank you for rocking with me. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the subscribers. If you know a friend or family member that would like this content, let them know. If you have a comment, want there be something that I talk about, definitely leave me a message. Leave me a comment. I respond to all of them. All right. The game is the game. All right. That's it for this clip. Subscribe, leave a comment, and respond to all the comments. The game is the game.